I'm gonna bring up Moed here, Moed.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
My question was about guilds. What function that guilds will have in in the game?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, from a guild perspective, we have a lot of like groups of players who plan on playing the game together, and we always like to welcome that. From an actual perspective of playing the game, you can play in groups of six. In terms of like asset collection, we don't really. Uh, I mean, that's kind of the guild's business, what they do. We don't really dictate what they do. But yeah, we can take one from D4DR here.
Hi guys, I have one question. Do you want to burn unsold spaces or to increase price of our investment?
So basically, what's happening to any of the unsold space from the current sale is going to be delisted effective Thursday at noon Eastern Standard Time.
Sounds good. Let's see. We got Skywise here. Just invited you to stage.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yep.
I own a bunch of space. Is there like an item that will only fit on, say, an exalted medium or an exalted large?
There's not an item, but it's more about levels, and we haven't really released a lot of that yet. So it's more about the levels than it is about the item.
Sounds good. We have DeFi guy in the Metaverse back. I think last time we couldn't hear him, but he says he has fixed his mic issues.
Hey Nirvana, am I audible now?
It's still a bit quiet, but sure, you can go ahead and ask. I've turned you up to like 200% volume.
Okay, thank you so much. So my question is regarding the gold passes. The passes, actually all three kind of passes. First is that we know that it's about the period, the first week, right? That will be for the gold passes. So after those 4 weeks pass, right? So what is going to happen with the gold passes? I mean, are they going to play
Sure, yeah.
the rare, or they
So-
just become the silver passes, right?
So yeah,
One more please. Is there any in future? Is there any going to be? I mean, any other utilities of these passes, or these are specific for these early access only? That's it. Thank you.
sure. So in terms of like gold early access period, it lasts 4 weeks, but gold early access like pass holders will be able to participate in the rest of the periods as well. It's not like they'll be able to their access stops after 4 weeks. The gold early access pass holders will be there the whole 10 weeks. And then in terms of like future utility, we've said like maybe you could have like badges or something in the name where it says who had a gold early access pass at some point, or maybe we could have some. Again, these are just ideas. We could have some areas that are exclusive to pass holders or stuff like that. I think we have Zika up here with another question.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
So I have one question about when the team of six raid the dungeon and they loot, whether it is cosmetics or whatever, maybe space. How is the loot divided amongst the team?
Sure. So, the way it kind of works is like any MMORPG where like, if you killed the mob, then you receive the loot kind of goes to like effectively the floor and you collect it. So if you kill a mob and you're kind of the only one near there or who did damage on the mob, then you'll probably get all the loot from that mob. Next up, we have Vertex Helix. Invite him to speak.
Hi guys, thank you for having me. I know most people are focused by now on the gameplay, but I would just like to ask a little more questions about the Founders Collection and the NFT cards, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, I
Hello?
mean, go for it. Yeah.
Sure. So, some of us really, were with Big Time quite early on, and we invested heavily on the NFT cards because at the moment this was the only thing that was available. So, a circle of real life friends who have collected pretty much everything there is to collect. So my question is, are you planning to bring some more value to the early adopters by raising awareness to the main body of the players about those cosmetic NFTs? Can you please elaborate a little more on the details, how these are going to be distributed? Are they going to
Sure,
interact
yeah.
with
So
spaces?
yeah. So like as we mentioned, if you collect all 6 of the postcards from any one series, you receive a collectible. In general, being an early supporter, we understand that like those postcards are kind of some of the first NFTs that we've sold, and so like in retrospect, we kind of look at those as almost being like collecting maybe a pin or something, or like a founder's pin where you kind of have proof that you were here from the beginning. And that's kind of the best part about NFTs as well. Like you can prove on the blockchain that you were like an early collector of these items. In terms of assigning future utility to them, like I mentioned, some of the ideas that have been thrown out is like having them be like importable almost in your time machine. So you'll be able to display them in your time machine and show off that like you've kind of been like an early supporter to all the friends that you invite back to your time machine, stuff like that. So the next question here I'm going to take is from Captain of the Cool Apes EA. Okay, looks like we'll have to come back to his question or her question. We have Biz here. Feel free to ask your question.
Thanks to bringing on. It's a question about space. According to previous AMA, we need space to upgrade NFT. Can you explain more detail about it? Just like if I have a sold space and I got a rare NFT, can I upgrade rare NFT in my sold space, or how it works? Thank you.
So yeah, I mean, I think your question is basically like, how do I upgrade my NFTs? So like, well, essentially the way the process works is you kind of take like a lower level one, and put it in a higher level space, like a higher level forge or something, and then upgrade the NFT itself. So in that respect, you'll need kind of all different types of spaces. We recommend that your space distribution kind of matches the game space distribution, where you kind of have 2% of Exalted, I think like 8%, I think if I remember correctly off the top of my head, 8% of Mythic, et cetera, et cetera. Like, so you want to kind of match the actual space distribution so that you can effectively and like efficiently create the best or like most NFTs efficiently. All right, next question. We're gonna.
So just quick reminder, everyone, if you're just joining us now, one of the things that we would totally and absolutely appreciate is you come up here, just make sure, try not to ask a question that was answered previously. Please don't do multi-part questions that can be really difficult to answer. Your question should be a question, and just try to ask us the question. We'll answer it quickly. Our goal is to answer as many questions as possible. We still have 55 people in the queue. So short, concise questions is the easiest for us to answer. And if, we can get through so many more questions that way. So far everyone's really great. So let's just kind of keep up at this. That way we can actually get through as many of those as we can. We were supposed to stop, in 3 minutes, but given how many questions there are, we're just going to keep going.
Sounds good. Thank you, Mike. The next person I'm gonna invite up here is B.O.B. Bob.
Hello, guys. Thanks for bringing me in. I only have one quick question. Let's say I have a legendary space or an epic space, and I want to install my Forge in my epic. Can I still upgrade my legendary items, or I do have to install it in my legendary space?
Do you mind? Or Mike, you got it?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. Let's say I have two spaces, legendary space and epic space, no? Both of them are small. I want to install my Forge in my epic space. Can I still upgrade my legendary items there, or I do have to have Forges to stay in every space?
Yeah, we haven't really released enough information on that yet, because a lot of, like, again, that's a super detailed question. we love that people are thinking about this stuff. What we have generally communicated is that you're going to want to own a well, actually, I mean, yeah, you're gonna want to own a wide variety of space, and the NFT skins, they are upgradable, and you'll want to, if you want to do this in the most efficient manner, you'll want to start them in the on the less rare spaces, and you'll want to, if you want to get a skin to the rarest potential, you would need the rarest of space. Now, remember, we have a marketplace, right, guys? So you don't have to do everything on your own. You can work together as a team. I think there's going to be different strategies and ways you can sort of play to this economy. Like, theoretically, one totally viable way of playing this would be to say, you know what, I'm going to go really low cost on space, and I'm just going to try to harvest as many tokens as possible, because I think at some point, maybe there's not enough tokens in circulation, and maybe that's like one particular end that you'd want to play to. Another would be maybe you just want to secure the rarest of spaces, and you don't really care about efficiency because you're just going to buy the lower level skins, and that way you don't have to actually craft them yourself. So there's a lot of ways of basically playing it.
Sounds good. Thank you, Mike. Next question is from Z Fusion.
Hello, thank you for having me. First thing, I just want to say, if Gray's listening, man, thank you for having me for joining this project. My question is, I have one small space. Okay, it's a rare small. Can you give anybody that's listening like some incentive or just something, some light of hope? Because we're seeing these exalted sales and all this stuff. Some people don't have money to get all these bigger spaces, man. Is there anything you can tell us for having a small rare space? Because that's only 2 slots. I think that's only enough room for one timekeeper, I believe.
So one of the things I can talk about is in general, right? Like in general, the way the NFT marketplace works. I'm sorry, when I say the NFT marketplace, I mean NFTs in general, is people typically gravitate towards the rarest of things. And you could think of it as price is built on 2 things, utility and rarity. And I think a lot of what we see right now is rarity. And we've seen this in other projects too, where the rarest stuff typically will command a super high value, because it's just from an end user standpoint the most obvious thing to do, right? Pile into the into the most rare stuff. And when I say most rare, I mean not like big time small rare. I mean just like most rare. What we've not done, what we've really not done yet, though, is we really haven't released all of the information that's going to help people assign utility to other things. So, for example, if we told you that, and by the way, this is not true, but if we told you that, hey, there's a fixed crafting time no matter what you're crafting, all of a sudden the utility of small rare would be very different. Now, the reason we haven't released, you'll notice that we've been very careful about what we're saying. And the reason being is we don't want to put out information that's not correct, because we know that everyone wants to make purchasing decisions based on what we tell them, and we just don't want to put out things we're not sure of. We don't want to put out things we're not final, and we're really trying to have a lot of discipline as a company to do that. A lot of people, I see it in general, and people are like, oh, these guys find a way of saying a lot without actually answering the question. The worst thing we could do would be to give you information that wasn't accurate, and we don't want to do that. So to kind of bring it back to the question, I know we fixate so much on price, and we have a really good in-game economy planned. We will release all of these details when it's the right time, and I think I don't. Yeah, I think small rare is a good space to own.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Mike. We're gonna bring up Champ Lou, ChampLoo.
Hello
Hey, man.
guys. I'm a VIP Gold Pass owner, and I wish to ask two very fast questions. The first one is that are the account on big time personal, like only the one that put the name on it can play on that account? And the second one is during the early access, there is some kind of bot prevention and script prevention in the game. That's it.
So I actually know quite a bit about this stuff, and we have a super smart game engineering team, and the way you stop botting is heuristics. There's a lot of simple heuristic reports, and what you sort of do is you design them around things that are just impossible. For example, a bot is typically capable of making like an unlimited number of clicks. Or I can tell you in the ad world, one of the secret things that we used to do is used to create these things called honey traps, and we basically have these pixels that the bots seem to be able to click, but they would actually be entirely off screen. So the way you typically stop bots is you implement heuristics. In a game that's like a card style game, it's actually a lot easier to sort of mimic human behavior because there's a lot less you can do. But in a open world style game, like big time, it's actually you kind of need, it's a lot harder to actually mimic human behavior. That said, I am super well aware that there are a lot of open world games that have been botted, but I think we have some pretty good strategies that should keep us in a really good position against bots.
Sounds good. I'm gonna bring up Rogerius here. He has a picture of some animal over here. All right, looks like he won't be joining. Oh, here we go. Never mind.
Hey, sorry. Can you hear me, guys? Right. So my question is, will there be a difference between the loots in game if you, let's say, kill a mob in a low level than killing a mob in a higher dungeon? Will there be like a difference in loot?
Yeah, so like one of the core loops that we take from a lot of the MMORPG like genre is like when you kill one mob or something, you collect some loot, and then that loot in turn helps you kill a harder mob. So like you'll kill like a level 1 mob, receive some level 1 loot, you'll use that level 1 loot to kill level 2 mob, that level 2 mob will drop level 2 loot, and so like this core loop of like killing hard monsters to get good loot, using that good loot to kill harder monsters is like pretty common within MMORPGs, and that's how we've kind of based our core game loop as well. We're gonna bring up Trunks. Hey man.
Hello, yo. So I just had one question concerning interoperability. I probably said that wrong. For like the space, you can decorate your space. Is it going to be possible eventually, or maybe are you thinking about this, like integrating different cosmetics of like different that basically that don't come from the game? Like
there's a variety of ways we can move forward with the community. So, and like how Big Time works. To back it all up, Big Time is a studio, and it just happens to be that our first game is called Big Time. And where we choose to go next with like the game development and how to use the tokens inside of it all, the community wants and responsible to. So when you talk about like other types of broadly classified as like brand NFTs or like cosmetic and skin ones, then
Hey Matt. Looks like you're cutting out. If you want to repeat that last part.
Yeah, sorry. Similar to black hole of reception. How we choose to use cosmetic NFTs or how users want them is it's just basically it's gonna be dictated on what you guys like as the community So part of the reason why we do these AMAs of like, this is what we want. We want to see things that are customizable, cosmetic, I want to be able to show this and this on my character or be able to treat it in this way. Then that's a way we can move next. Like how we choose to grow the game is mostly the feedback we're looking for from our community and why we do these types of AMAs.
Sounds good. Thank you, Matt. We're gonna take one from Yemi, YAMI, who has like a nice picture of a rabbit here. I think that's a rabbit.
Hey guys, I have a simple question. It's about the timekeeper. Will my friends will be able to recharge their hourglass on my space, or they need each their own timekeeper? That's all. Thanks.
Okay, so the question is, if I own an hourglass, can I go into your space and can I recharge my hourglass on your timekeeper? I mean, that seems pretty straightforward. I will always preface this by saying things may change, but that sort of reflects the design as it is now. And granting access is at least pretty fundamental. It's pretty fundamental, like to like kind of the permissioning that would exist in the game. So I believe so.
Sounds good. I'm gonna bring up 100 RB here.
Yeah, hey gents, is my volume okay?
Yep, you're all good, man.
Great. So my question is, if leveling up for skins are cosmetic only, will a weapon's ability to increase damage be dependent on the experience level of the player? Should I repeat the question?
Yeah, so basically, no, I got it. I think I had myself unmuted, so Nirvad thought, anyways. So yeah, I mean, basically, yeah, the NFT skins are cosmetic only. So, damage is going to be much more reliant on not on the skin you have on the weapon, but the weapon itself and your character. As your character levels and your attributes increase, that contributes to the damage your weapons do.
Sounds good. I think we're gonna take a question from Crypto Caleb next.
All right, hey, got it. Yeah, not a question about the gameplay here. Wondering what's your guys' product or profit model, seeing as most free-to-play have profit from selling the skins and all that, but you're not doing that. I understand that you're probably gonna be taking a fee from the marketplace, but that seems kind of thin to me for like the whole profit model of the game. And obviously this upfront space sale will run out eventually, and it's a pretty like large game for a free-to-play. It's got a huge scope. So yeah, thank you.
I'll answer this one. So first of all, as I'm sort of answering this from like a CMO perspective, but one of the things that a lot of you all haven't really probably taken into consideration is that these games from a marketing or advertising standpoint typically are incredibly expensive. Global launch is in the $50 to $500 million range. So when people say, hey, fees are thin, one of the, well, I mean, that is true. Fees are thin, but one of the neat things is when you equip the players and you basically say to the players, hey, this is your game, this is your marketplace, you guys get to make the stuff. Typically, marketing those games becomes a whole lot less expensive. So, and there's just so many really good things there. Typically when you're advertising or marketing games, if you really want to be able to have very large budgets, you need to focus heavily on the monetization. Typically, it's user-specific monetization. Typically, it's a really perverse incentive model because, I mean, you're basically acquiring users, and you really want to optimize each user uniquely and give those players advantages. So I think the reason why the fee model can work is simply because the referral power that's kind of built in. Next.
Sounds good. Thanks, Mike. We're gonna invite Sneaky on. I think he's been waiting for a while.
Hey, I was just wondering, what are you guys most excited for about the game, whether that is from a dev perspective or an actual player?
Why don't we each answer this question, and we will start with Matt if he's able to answer.
You know, just honestly, besides just playing the game, I'm looking forward to the way that like daytime. I really do, like personally believe is just going to change the way people talk about play to earn, or excuse me, blockchain in gaming. Right, like so for so long, play to earn has been like the lens through the way people look at blockchain in like games. And what Big Time has done differently is incorporated not using that type of model. It's not a play to earn game in that sense. It's a fun AAA rated game, and looking how how other people will see like this is being done differently. This is the way we should be doing it here. I'm looking forward to that impact and seeing how the community responds.
Sure. I can go now. I think, like Matt mentioned, definitely like this new era of gaming. What I'm personally most excited for, is actually seeing everybody get in the game. And then like one thing, like from a technological standpoint, game development standpoint, is the procedural dungeon generation. I think that's gonna be really sick, from a player perspective, because you kind of get this unique experience every time. And then the other thing I'm excited for is from a technological standpoint is the vault system in the marketplace. It kind of allows transactions to go off chain, so you can still have like the benefits of the blockchain where you have like instant transactions and stuff, but you don't have to pay gas, and you don't have to like set up a MetaMask or anything. So yeah.
What I'm really excited about is I really do think this is a really big deal. I always think of gaming as there's like sort of three eras of it. There was the era where we all went to the video game store. We bought a video game for like $50 and we brought the cartridge home and we played it, right? And then there was mobile games, right? And that was a really big deal because games became free, and then we all had these free games in the palm of our hands. And now we're going to this new era of player economies, and there's just so many new things to that. I think that what we've seen in the space, it's been sort of transactional. It's not really been fun. A lot of what kind of goes on in the space is, you know, I buy this thing in this game, and the game's not particularly fun, but I'll, you know, grant access to someone else to play it. And that's the way a lot of people are looking sort of at the space. So I don't know if that's the right model on a long enough time horizon. I think the model that the game industry needs is focusing first and foremost on fun, because if we focus on fun and we focus on a player operated economy, what we can actually do is we can unlock discretionary purchases from many, many, many users. So I think we are kind of sitting on this super special moment. The whole team has been basically heads down, pretty much working nonstop. It seems like since about the beginning of November. So yeah, it's a really special moment. Everyone here is working super, super hard. We're on 6 days a week now. So yeah, we're all really excited and working to that end.
Thanks, Mike. We got Kilowatt 50 here. Light it up.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yep.
So my question is, I own an exalted space. I would like to know if I can craft like only cosmetical items, or can I craft like so NFTs and they have utility, or if I can craft only cosmetic items, will they have any utility in the game, so they will be assigned some value? Thank you.
Sure, I can take this question. So, you know, a lot of years ago, if I told you, hey man, you're gonna end up paying like 10 grand for your Twitter PFP, you'd look at me like I was crazy. And you know, now a few years later, we have like Bored Ape raising a ton of money. You know, it's very clear that there's a demand for these types of collectibles. They've been like the Rolex of the digital world, is the way I've kind of described them. Even if we go back a couple of years, we look at the CS:GO game economy. There's a lot of people, even today, who are purchasing skins that are purely cosmetic. And like I think CS:GO still has like huge purchases for like the most rare skins for like 700 grand. Even just stickers in the game I think sell for like multiple thousands. So yeah, I think like although these NFTs don't give you any advantage in the game, that doesn't mean they're not valuable to society in that sense. Like I think when it comes down to it, people are more than willing to shell out money for cosmetic skins and NFTs and things like that. It makes them look rich. Like, you know, would you want to watch a streamer who had no skins on, or would you want to watch a streamer who's wearing like $1 million skin, you know? Obviously that's an exaggeration, but that's kind of the way we think about it. All right, next.
And we see, and just to kind of touch on that, we see that everywhere and everything, right? Like, why would I ever buy a T-shirt that's worth more than like $20? Maybe I want to be noticed. But why would, like, if we had a utilitarian approach to all things, the world would be a really boring and sort of blank place. But yeah, I think you're 100% right, Nirvan. I think for like streamers, it's going to be a really big deal having a character that has really cool stuff that's equipped.
We're gonna do Brajo or Brajo. I don't know how to say his name. Brajo.
Hi. I wanted to ask a simple question. The VIP pass that's on Binance, it's the same that it is on the site?
Yep, all the passes that we sell, so meaning verified on OpenSea, verified on Binance from the marketplace directly, they have the same utility, which is early access to the game. Thank you for your question. All right, we're gonna bring up, here we go. Some of these people have asked questions before. I'm trying to pick people that have never asked a question. We've got Eon Marius 16 here with a flag.
Hello. Thank you for having me on the AMA. I have two very short questions. So the first one would be if it's possible to destroy a timekeeper or a forge already created on a space. And the second one, if what's the difference between the size of the spaces of the same rarity, but beside the number of slots? Thank you.
Funnily enough, I don't think I don't remember any discussions or design documents, anything really even discussing the destruction of things. So unfortunately, I just don't have an answer to that one. And then in terms of, more rare space can craft more rare skins.
Sounds good. We're gonna pick Yeet Lol with some pizza, drink, and emojis. He's been waiting for a while.
Yep. I guess, so I was just wondering if the spaces have any sort of aesthetic look to them other than the amount of slots according to their size.
Sure.
There's a couple ways you can interpret it, but we also have artistic renditions of what space could look like on our Instagram page. That was like one of the initial designs for it. The way I conceptualize it is like rooms inside of a castle, and it's an individualized place where you can put items inside of it, and then you can maneuver around inside of it and look around it. But it's not just like a blank screen where you just put something like a place like on like a checkerboard or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, as well as that long term, we've definitely thought about like having different themes for space and being able to kind of like apply those themes to your space, and those like being another cosmetic feature that's applicable. Here we go. We have Vikinger, who has been waiting for a while. Now we got Mushy coming up. Hey, Mushy.
Hey guys. So I have a question about eventual tokenomics, and any information you can give me would be appreciated. I know not all of it's fleshed out. But as far as on-ramp and off-ramp for the eventual in-game currency, have you guys thought about whether or not you're going to have an off-ramp to layer ones, or is it all going to be self-contained within your ecosystem, and then let's say an off-ramp in USDC or some other layer one token?
Sounds good. So, from like once you collect the token, you can basically do whatever you want from it. You can spend it in a marketplace, you can spend it in the game, or if you don't want to do that, you can withdraw it. and you can do whatever you want with it once you withdraw it. So the next question is going to be from Zachary Brown. I've invited up.
Hey guys, can you hear me good?
Yep.
Okay. I'd like to hear from each one of you this question, but why big time for blockchain gaming? Quick question.
Sure. So in terms of, sustainability within big time, we can look at the way we kind of define our game's life cycle, which is going to be over multiple decades. I think like the most important thing here to keep in mind is that big time is completely like the economy within big time is completely discretionary, where players are mostly incentivized to play the game because it's fun. And so you can sign up and download the game without ever inputting a MetaMask, without ever memorizing a passphrase, without ever waiting for gas fees or anything like that. Essentially, the onboarding to big time will be a very, very familiar experience for people who have been playing games forever. And so that kind of allows us to appeal to a larger demographic, and then that larger demographic is going to keep playing the game because the game itself is extremely, extremely fun. And like we maintain that like a lot of the players playing are incentivized because the game is fun, not because of any type of economy or anything. And that kind of allows us to have this like super long-term approach to the game itself. And then from like a team standpoint, we also have like a lot of experienced people who have been doing this for like probably longer than some of the people have in this call have been alive. I think Mike had something to add.
So yeah, just to chime in, and by the way, one thing I would say though is one of the things you said, Nirvan, was not because of the economy, like people wouldn't play it. Actually, one thing I should disagree with you on there, Nirvan, is one of the neat things about this is a lot of the things that you can sport in the game or you can collect are scarce and you own them. So there definitely is that component to it. But one question to ask though would be, as a gamer, why other games? A lot of the games right now, everything that you purchase in the game comes directly from the developer. There's an unlimited quantity of those things. A lot of the games actually will do user-specific pricing, and anything you buy may be nerfed out of existence in a couple of patches. So I would say that I really do think Big Time and many other games, it's not just Big Time, are kind of part of this new revolution where the players own and create and sell to the players. So I think what we're doing that's new is it is centered around fun. Anyways, Matt?
Yeah, and I guess for the sake of redundancy, why Big Time? First and foremost, because it's fun. And then ancillary to that is it allows users to take advantage of identity and ownership that comes along with blockchain in a very unique way without compromising on the foundational component, which is it is fun. You own that item. If you have an NFT, you own it in the game, on the chain, wherever you want it to be. And that's big. That's something other games have alluded to in the past, but haven't quite been able to get there. But Big Time has brought them all together. While it is still a fun game.
It sounds good. I'm gonna add in Cadena Kongs. He's got some type of colorful PFP here.
Yeah. Hey guys, thanks for getting me up here. So I heard your answer on the cosmetic NFTs, and the way I see it, you guys have cosmetic and then utility-based NFTs, which would be the space. And I definitely agree there's going to be huge value in collectible cosmetic NFTs, but my question is why not add utility as well to those, like weapons or NFTs? Is there a thesis there that you guys had? So that's just my question.
A big reason. Go for it, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, so I think you've noticed that we've we've been not able to provide a whole lot of detail in terms of to the very specific question to the economy. The moment we start to get into utility, like power-ups and things like that, it gets even more difficult to kind of provide that. It gets a lot more difficult. And one of the problems too is you have to if we release, let's say, like a sword of, let's say, like, I don't know, plus 200% damage, right? So we release that thing's out there, and let's say we decide, okay, well, gee, that is actually too powerful, and we nerf it, and basically that weapon, it had a value based on its utility, right? So we get into this whole new territory where it gets really, really complicated. So I think the first thing is to really ship this game, make sure it's fun, focus on PDE, focus on cosmetics. We think the market for that kind of a game is really, really big. We think because the game is fun, because the game is free, because it's easy to play, we think that there's a huge demand to kind of get into this game. We could get into the stuff that you recommended, but it would just take a lot longer. And we want to be early, we want to be first. Hopefully that answers that question.
Sounds good. I'm gonna take a question from Big Time Bull here. Just in general, guys, we are running out of time, so we're probably only gonna be able to take a few more questions.
Hey guys, my question is about guild functionality, and I believe that once this game does get to full public release and open for everyone, that those functionalities are going to just be outstanding and next level. My question is about early access. I know some of the dynamics of the game won't be playable in there, and so it'll be somewhat limited. I want to know about any functionalities that would allow for guilds and friends for giving permissions to others, or sharing or renting those EA passes so that you can get some other players in there if you've purchased more than one for a guild or even amongst friends. Thank you.
So I actually have the answer to this question, but this is actually a detail. And again, one of the things we try to do is try to make these things official announcements. You actually do know the answer to that question, but we will publish that pretty soon. But all of the details, if you have a gold pass, how it's going to work, what you're going to be able to do with it, that is going to come out very soon. So stand by. We'll have a really cool graphic that kind of describes it. But I want to kind of table it, and that way we can kind of put it out into circulation for everyone to see simultaneously.
Sounds good. We're gonna get Foxtrot up here. Foxtrox, I don't know.
Yes, hello. Quick question about space. When I put forges and timekeepers into my space, can I then take them out afterwards and resell it on the market?
Sorry, can you repeat the question real quick?
Yes, of course. After you have been using your space with timekeepers and forges, can you then take them out again and then sell the space?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, space is NFT, and so once you're done using it, you can kind of do whatever you want with it, whether you want to take that out of Big Time Marketplace or directly into the marketplace and sell it there. You can move it to cold storage, you can move it to OpenSea, whatever you really fancy doing with it. Let's take a question from somebody who hasn't asked yet. Charco.
Hello?
Yep. Hey, man.
Hi, thanks for having me up here, and thanks for keeping the AMA going on so long. My question was in regards to space, if you guys have thought of or plan on implementing like renting mechanisms for space and other NFT, utility NFTs.
Yeah, we actually answered that at the beginning of the podcast, at the beginning of the AMA. But to kind of repeat the answer, we are very aware of the need to support guild-like features for permissioning, we are, again, it's not a technical thing in terms of the level of support we give. It's much more so about what we're allowed to do. So stay posted, and when all of those decisions are made, those decisions will be made public.
Sounds good, guys. I invited Christine up here.
Hey, my question is, what's the main difference between, for example, 10-socket legendary space and 10-socket mythical space?
Mythical will be able to craft more rare, higher level NFTs.
Sounds good. Okay. Mike, how much more? Maybe like one or two more questions.
But yeah, let's. I've got time, but if you want to, actually, yeah, let's do 2 questions, and then let's wrap this.
All right, sounds good. I'm bringing up Goda Gata. I don't know how you say his name.
Hey guys, can you hear
Hey
me?
man. Yep.
All right. So my question is, you said you're gonna tackle bots, right, in the early access, and how about account sharing? So I'm sure a lot of people, when they're going to sleep or something, they will give their account password, like their VIP passes to a friend or something, so they can keep playing. Is that gonna be forbidden or prohibited in some way?
See, I don't think we've released our EULA on that just yet. I believe that'd be covered under the EULA, and there's a draft internally. It's not been finalized or published. So yeah.
I invited him to speak. All right, looks like he is not going to respond. Oh, here we go. You're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, you're
Hello?
good. Yep.
Yeah, so the in-game tokens, I know you said we could earn them playing the game, but is there going to be some type of special like airdrop for people that own spaces when the game starts or is released?
I can take this one. So we understand the importance of airdrops. We see a lot of like really popular projects doing all kinds of different airdrops. We are, again, one of the things that we're really doing right now is we're doing all the economic planning and estimations, and in the planning and the estimations, there are airdrops. One of the tricky things, we want to be very careful not to kind of rush airdrops out the door. We don't want to kind of create problems before we kind of settle all the details. But I would expect that there will be airdrops within the game.
Sounds good, guys. I think that'll be probably the last question we're able to answer for today. The AMA has kind of gone almost double the time we allotted. In terms of like future things on the spectrum, or like to look out for, the Big Time Exalted Space Sale will come to an end on Thursday, March 31st at 12 p.m. Eastern. Furthermore, for the people asking about quests, we have some quests that should be launching within the next like 1 to 2 weeks. And then in the future, we have our early access coming up next quarter as well. For those of you who'd like to learn more about Big Time, or like this is their first kind of exposure to Big Time, you can go to our Twitter @PlayBigTime, or if you have any more questions, you can ask in the community, Big Time General. And we have a lot of good community moderators and members who would love to answer your questions and help kind of onboard you into the community. I think that'll be all for today. Thank you all. Have a good night.